So a common request is to be able to have mobs, monsters that chase you around the screen. So I've got my game at the moment, and clearly that monster there is very static. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways of doing this. There are other ways as well beyond what I'm showing you, but these are straightforward and manageable. Probably the easiest thing to do is to make your monster guy a bullet. So if I go into behaviors on him and add at the bottom bullet. So he always heads with this speed, which I'm going to make a bit lower for chasing. He doesn't want to be going too fast, and he sets off at the angle we set. So the cunning bit that we're going to do is we're going to say system every X seconds. So I'm going to say every 0.5 seconds. We could do it more often, but I think it kind of adds a bit of variety to the behavior. Every 0.5 seconds, add action, and I'm going to rotate or set angle towards position. So this is the angle that he is displayed at, and also the bullet just follows along at that angle. And my guy, the player guy, is called Super Guy in this case. You might know him as something else, I don't know. And I'm going to say set angle towards superguy.x coordinate and superguy.y. So you can, by doing the dot on the end and then putting that parameter in, it tells us to choose the x and y coordinates of superguy. You get that? So let's just quickly run that, and we can see wherever I move around the screen, he heads towards me. One thing that, I mean, it works, and you can change the speed, and you can change how often it changes direction and all that kind of thing. So it's definitely chasing me around. A couple of things that aren't too wonderful about it. Firstly, he goes straight through the ground, and he just basically just follows me at all times. And the main obvious thing is that he's always rotating around, so he's an upside down monster, and I don't know if that looks very good. So let's look at a couple of things that we can do to change that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be a little bit cunning, and I'm going to say this guy is no longer going to be my bullet behavior kind of guy. So I'm going to remove the bullet behavior from him. Gone. And I'm actually going to create another sprite. So this sprite, put it right here for now, it's actually going to be invisible, but just to show what's going on, I'll just do like a cross or something. I don't know. Yeah, so we can actually see it on the screen. And this is going to be the one that does the actual bullet behavior. So if I just put it, I'll put him over here, and I'll put this one here, and this guy is going to follow me around. So let's quickly add that in again. So it's I better name it as follower. I'm going to call it, because why not? So follower behaviors, I'm going to add in that bullet behavior, and in the event sheet, every 0.5 seconds, it's not going to be the monster that I set our angle towards, it's going to be the follower. I'm going to set angle towards position, and it was superguy x coordinate and superguy dot y coordinate. Okay, and the other cunning thing I'm going to add in here is system. I'm going to say every tick. Okay, so that's every 60th of a second. So every frame that is displayed, add action, the monster, I'm going to set position to another object. Let's try that. Choose the object. I'm going to set it to the position of the follower. So what that means is we're still going to have all the follower is still going to follow it around, but the monster will just be moving on top of it and staying in the same place all the time. Let's just see if that works. Well, I seem to have set him. I didn't change the speed, did I? Yeah, that's not very good. So the follower, I need to set his speed to 100, say, or whatever works, you know. Anyway, so that kind of that's okay. You know, he follows me around the screen. And he doesn't go upside down and all the rest of it, and it's okay. For a lot of people that will be good enough, and it depends on the kind of game you're making as well. But what I'm going to do is something a bit more complicated here. You really don't need to do this unless you particularly want this kind of behavior. I'm going to use the pathfinding. Oh, I will just point one other thing out, of course, is that once you've got this guy working properly, you just delete this and it's just an invisible sprite, so you never see it. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to remove that bullet behavior from my follower sprite, and I'm going to add in a pathfinding behavior. So obviously the pathfinding is it finds a path to the things that you suggest. So we're going to say find a path towards my guy here, and then move along that path, which is a bit fiddlier to use than you'd like, but it still works pretty well. So I'm going to kind of leave all of these pathfinding behaviors the same for the moment. There will be at least one thing I change in a moment though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, so instead of setting angle towards superguy.x, superguy.y, every 0.5 seconds I'm going to add an action which will be the follower thing. And it's got a whole bunch of pathfinding sections now because I've added that behavior. I'm going to say find path, and it's the same as before. I specified the superguy.x coordinate and the superguy.y, so it's going to find a path towards the place that we're at. I've said every 0.5 seconds, so as you move around, it will kind of be a little bit slow to react. It will just have a little bit of lag. Obviously, you could do it every tick. Doing pathfinding every tick is a bit dangerous. Pathfinding is computationally expensive, which means that if you're doing a lot of pathfinding, you might get lag in your game. So I'm only doing it every 0.5 seconds. So finding the path isn't enough. You actually need to also say when the path has been found. So follower, back into the pathfinding section, on path found. So because this takes time to actually find the correct path, I'm going to add an action that the follower is then going to move along path. Now you only need to set this once. It's effectively, I think it should actually be called start moving along path. So once you've set it to do that, it found the path in this little bit here. When you said find path, it found a path, and now it's just going to keep chugging along that path until it gets to where it's going. I wonder if that will work. Let's try it. So, okay, it's now moving towards me. Oops, oh, fell off. Yep. So on the whole, it seems to be making a genuine effort to get at me. Now, the main advantage of using this, if we do it right, is we can make it so it doesn't go through these obstacles, the ground stuff all the time, because that's a bit annoying that it can just come straight through that and I have to jump around it. So let's just quickly go and do that. Back in the follower object here, obstacles at the moment are solids. I'm going to say custom, so I can choose what is an obstacle, and then it'll have to find the path around those obstacles. So I'm going to do this on the system on start of layout. Let's just type in start. Yeah, on start of layout, I'm going to add an action that the follower thing is going to have an obstacle type added to it. I'm going to say the ground is always going to be an obstacle. Done. So when it finds its path, it always has to find its way around those ground obstacles. So I'll just put that at the top just to keep things nice and neat. So every 0.5 seconds is that. Okay, that looks pretty good. How does this behave? A little bit. Yeah, it's okay. Oh, God, sorry about that. Let's see if we can actually get it to go around some stuff. If you watch its behavior. Yeah, so it's always having to go around the obstacles. So I'm playing a bit of a game of hide and seek with it here, or whatever it is that this game would be. That's a pretty good behavior, and it wasn't that much effort to make. Yeah, and you can combine that with other behaviors and tweak the parameters and the speeds and all the rest of it depending on your game. Hope that's helpful.